All right, good evening, everyone. We'll go ahead and get ready to call this meeting to order. Let me make sure I pull up the agenda here. Okay, this is the wrong agenda I'm looking at. Can we pull up the agenda on here, please? Can we do it that way? Thank you.
Oh, I know, we can go to the iCompass, it should be open,
Okay.
or one of these. This is it.
I think I did it this way too. Well, you can do it. I
Oh,
think
here we
stroke.
go. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. So while Kalina's pulling up the agenda here on the screen, you might have to also share your screen so Commissioner Hall can view it, I think, unless Kurt has it up or not. Okay. So we'll get ready to call the Human Relations Commission meeting here to order. I have 6:04 p.m. on my laptop here. And so being that this is the first meeting of the new Restructure Human Relations Commission meeting, we have down here on the agenda to do roll call as well as welcome and introductions. By way of introduction or roll call, it might be easier for folks to go ahead and just introduce themselves, and then might just kind of reverse it a little bit. I'll read a few comments here before we start going through the agenda. So everyone should know that this meeting is being recorded and broadcasted on Zoom and the city's YouTube channel. I just want to welcome everyone to the first meeting of the new Human Relations Commission Advisory Board. As this is our first gathering with a new structure, I would like to point out that tonight's meeting agenda follows ordinance number 9984, which was included on the agenda there. You see the link to on the agenda there. It outlines under the meeting section that under the meeting chair and vice chair section, that advisory board shall at the very first meeting of each calendar year, which this will kind of take the place of that, select a chairperson as well as a vice chair and set the time and place in regular public meetings. So on our agenda tonight, we have that as one of the agenda items, which we'll get to. And when we get to that part of the agenda related to selecting a chairperson as well as a vice chairperson, you can nominate another commissioner, you can self-nominate, and then we'll just kind of vote and go through that process. So with that, I guess we can go ahead and get started on the agenda piece by way of introductions. So how about we start over here first, maybe?
Sure. My name is Irving Koo. Just a bit about myself.
Yes, please. I'm sorry. I should have gave more instructions on that, I
Okay.
guess.
I'm a retired psychiatrist. I've been living here in Lawrence only 2.5 years. I originally was working mostly in Arkansas. I had lived in Arkansas for over 35 years prior to coming here. Since coming here, I've become really interested in engaging in the community. I'm engaged in a number of volunteer opportunities. I'm on the juvenile courts citizen review board for hearings for kids. On the support ed, I'm a mentor for truant kids. I do. For this coming election, I help set up and then take away the voting equipment at various sites. So I spend most of Mondays and Wednesdays around Election Day doing that. And I'm also on the advisory board for the TRC, for Bert Nash, and that's kind of what I do. Otherwise, I do a lot of cooking at home, take care of the stuff that my wife, who is a psychologist and works really hard, so I kind of take care of the household, which I have found I really enjoy doing.
And I'll just make one more request for Kurt, who handles all our fancy IT and everything. So if there's a preference that you have related to how you would like to have your name displayed or your name spelled, please just share that out as well. And then we can make sure that, like you see your name on the screen over there, you can make sure that your name displays as you would like to have it displayed.
Sure. That's perfect. My pronouns are he, him.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mackey.
My name is Jennifer McCafferty. I am the Human Relations, or I guess Human Resources Manager for the Community Children's Center here in Lawrence. Small nonprofit. We are in the process of opening up 2 child care facilities here in Lawrence. One, hopefully any day now. Licensing. I have a master's degree in legal studies from Northeastern University, specializing in HR and employment law. And I am the president-elect for the Jayhawk chapter of SHRM.
Ready? Got to hit push or anything, or just all right. Renato Guevara here, full-time Air National Guard member for the Air Force in Topeka, Kansas. Just recently moved here from New York, so been in Lawrence going on about 2 years. Do some volunteering in the community. Volunteer at my church, my son's school. He's at St. John's right down the road. I take pride in serving my country, and now looking forward to serving the city of Lawrence. So,
Thank you.
yeah,
How long have you been in the Guard?
5 years. Yeah,
Super. Great.
thank you.
Thanks for your service.
Of course, my pleasure.
My name's Matthew Benorden, and Mr. Hall, do you want to be called Matthew or Matt?
I like to go by Matt.
Okay, I'll go by Matthew then. Okay, first order of business. So my name is Matthew Benorden. I'm a counseling coordinator at Midland Care in Topeka, Kansas, and that means I'm responsible for the hospice social workers, hospice chaplains, and bereavement team. I also work at TRC on the weekends, and been lived in Lawrence for about 20 years, working on my PhD in clinical social work, and part of the reason I wanted to serve was to give back to my community.
Great. And for those of you who may not know, the TRC is the Treatment Recovery Center attached to the Mental Health Center here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you say what does TOC stand for again?
It's the Treatment Recovery Center.
Treatment Recovery Center.
It's a crisis center where people can just walk in 24/7.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. And I guess we can shift online to Commissioner Matt.
I appreciate Matthew for
Matthew.
getting that clarified,
Okay.
where there's no confusion moving forward.
You're welcome.
My name is Matt Hall. I've been a resident of Lawrence 15 years, native Kansan. I've been an organizer and a business rep in the labor movement for my entire career, over 20 years, with the Teamsters Union, Local 833. I've been with Local 696. We represented a myriad of workers in Lawrence, school bus drivers, city workers, UPS drivers, and I'm interested in being part of this board so we can make sure we kind of help out the community and kind of give back to the community.
Thank you. I guess I can introduce myself, and Karina, and then we can do official roll call thereafter. I think we might have 2 commissioners who might not be present with us, but so I'm named as Faris Mohammed. I am the Director of Equity and Inclusion for the City of Lawrence. I, coming up in a couple weeks here, would have been here for 4 years now. So came here during the COVID years, so it seems like a lot longer that I've been here at this point. Also serve as the champion for our city strategic plan for equity and inclusion. So I think as we probably, as you all, I think I've seen you all at the training for the advisory board restructuring. Probably shared some of that as you all saw me kind of cover some of the equity pieces, equity and inclusion for the city strategic plan and the new advisory board structure. Originally from Detroit, so I moved here to Kansas for work. So I've been in the state of Kansas for 4 years, originally from Detroit, but I've lived in, I don't know, 5 or 6 different states now. So I've jumped around doing a similar kind of work. Prior to this, I was a Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer for the city of Peoria, Illinois. Before that, I did similar work in Dubuque, Iowa, then Georgia, et cetera, et cetera. So that's me, and I serve as the staff liaison for the Human Relations Commission. And,
I'm staff liaison with him, I guess you'll say.
Yes.
Just coming on, joining on. My name is Kalina Coleman. I'm the Organizational Equity Coordinator. I've been here for about 2.5 years, a little over 2.5 years or so. It'll be 3 in February. My background is I've been in government pretty much my whole career, but at the local level, local and state, counties and state, county, city, and states. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, and let's see here. I'm gonna shift here and try to pull up the other piece on here to do official roll call. I want to make sure I get the names correct again. One second, okay. So I'll just kind of go down the list here for terms and say Commissioner Irving
Koo. Yes, thank you.
present. All right. Commissioner Matthew Benorden.
Present.
Did I pronounce that correctly?
You did. I'm impressed.
Okay, thank you. Just want to make sure. Commissioner Joseph Mastro Simone. I think it's not here. And then Commissioner Renata Guevara.
President Renato.
Renato.
Renato, yes, sir.
Thank you for the correction. Appreciate it. Commissioner Jennifer
McCafferty.
McCafferty.
Present.
Present. Commissioner Dallas Dewan. Not, and then Commissioner Matthew Haw
Present.
online. So we got 5 out of 7. So we have a quorum here. So thank you. With that, we can scroll down to the other parts of our meeting agenda today. And if at any point, if anybody have any questions, Kalina or myself will attempt to answer. So we can kind of have this, even though it's formal, just feel free, as this is a first meeting for all of us. And I think this is all, you all are first time Human Relations Advisory Board members for the city of Lawrence at least. And so if there's any kind of question you all have about previous things that was procedural or historical, whatever, I'll attempt to answer. Not that that has to have any direct bearing on how this advisory board moves forward, but just share that out if I can be helpful in that regard. Can we scroll down for the rest of the agenda? So that's so section A. If we just go to section B on the agenda, of course, this is the first meeting, so we have no minutes to approve. So with that, we'll move to public comment in section C. I'm not seeing anyone here present in person. Kalina, do you see anybody online as far as members of the general public?
It's not.
That's-
Double check though, just one really quickly. No.
So it looks like we have no one online for us public comment. So with that, we'll keep moving down the agenda and get to section D of the agenda, which goes towards background on new meeting restructure. In the agenda package, you all had some links to the boards and commission, the Human Relations Commission, just some of the history there, and some of the background as far as the bylaws, the structuring, some of the new ordinance that kind of shapes and provide guidance to the process of or procedure related to this that governs this advisory board. So I'm sure you all had the opportunity to take a look at that. So any questions that anybody had or any comments or any discussion that anybody wanted to engage in pertaining to the packet?
The packet had a lot of procedures, but it really didn't talk about, at least I didn't see the essence of this board and what the charge is and whether the charges changed from the old one to the new one. I know I had spoken with an old commissioner that had been on this board, Dustin Stumbling Bear. He was on this for a year, for maybe in 2018 or 2019, and he had mentioned that they were feeling, I guess, complaints, but there were never any complaints that came through during the year that he was there, so the meetings were really short. And I was thinking maybe we could talk about the purpose of this meeting and the purpose of this commission and how best we can serve the community with it.
Yeah, so I guess I can attempt to address that in one way is that can we pull up, I think I have one of those links pulled up where it goes to the Human Relations Commission online. I think it's one of the green ones, maybe the next one. Or is it the city? Let's try the city one with the fire, or we can do it this way too. So I guess one way we can look at it and see the language that we currently have on the city's website related to the Human Relations Commission. It kind of speaks about this governing body and how it connects to our city strategic plan and falls under our outcome area pertaining to safe and secure, and how there are progress indicators to kind of say, hey, how might the collective of this advisory board, in addition to others, help the city to advance its mission of being safe and secure, not just for city staff, of course, but for community members. And what does that mean for somebody to make sure that they have a sense of belonging despite their identities or whatever demographic background that they come from? So when you think in terms of the Human Relations Commission here in the city of Lawrence, the language is usually in other cities you may hear commonly referred to as a Human Rights Commission. And in most cases, it's designed to sort of address forms of discrimination. So when you think in terms of whether that's employment discrimination or housing discrimination or public accommodations and those types of matters is what historically this commission has kind of formed to be able to help address. And so with that, there has been partnerships with the city's Human Relations Division that does the investigation when a complaint is made. So we have our city prosecutors who also serve as sort of our intake specialists. They kind of, when somebody may have a complaint, it's like a stopping point. I think I also may have had the city's website pulled up. Can you click on, I think it was open in one of those links right there. So here, for an example, for most citizens, if they have some type of a complaint, they can find a lot of information here on the city's website related to how to go about filing a complaint. We don't have to click on it, but we have a complaint process flow chart related to what kind of complaint it might be, the sort of timeline and turnaround time related to how long somebody may have to file a complaint. So if it's 180 days or 6 months after they experience what they perceive to be discrimination, they can check with the city, do an intake form. They can meet with the intake specialist, and the intake specialist, which is usually one of our city attorneys, can see if it has any merit or if the city has any standing. If not, the prosecutor or the person serving in that role might try to refer it off to another agency who may have more jurisdiction over that type of a matter. So this advisory board, a lot of times in a previous advisory board, somebody from that office will come to this meeting to kind of just share out, hey, over the last month or last quarter, we've had this many types of complaints. Here's the status of those kind of complaints. Here's how many are in conciliation. Here's how many had no standing. Here's how many have been dismissed or whatever the status might be of that type of complaint. So I think this advisory board in the past have also tried to figure out ways to do more public engagement to make community members know that there's a presence and there's additional arm that people can communicate with to kind of say, hey, if I'm having or feel as if I'm having or experiencing discrimination, where do I go? What might the city need to be doing? And of course, all advisory boards are sort of designed to kind of develop policy recommendations for the larger governing body to say, hey, here's something that the city might want to address or develop a policy around to make sure that nobody's being discriminated against and everybody has a sense of belonging in the city of Lawrence. So that's, again, but as this being the first meeting, this is something that you all can kind of start to give consideration to and say, hey, as a new board, these are things that we might want to address. And so you can give some thought to that and what that looks like moving forward.
I just want to also point out that last sentence, the Human Relations Commission is also governed by Chapter 10 of the
Thanks.
City Code and have those duties and responsibilities set forth in more detail there. And so it would be good to kind of spend some time in that document. And then you can definitely find that online as well, on our site as well.
Yes, and so
Did I put that in the agenda? I'm sorry, did I put that in the agenda packet?
I feel like it went out somewhere. I'm not sure if there's any.
I can get that out to you
not.
just in case, just to get you guys a PDF copy of that.
Okay.
Yes. And so Chapter 10 of the City Code, as Kalina spoke to, is also kind of the governing city ordinance that kind of explains what this advisory board is allowed to do and what type of forms of discrimination or what is considered discrimination and what types of forms of discrimination the city has jurisdiction over to kind of address and take issue with, I guess. So over the last 2 years, there's been some additions and updates to our Chapter 10 that have included things like a safe haven ordinance related to, in response to, at the time, Senate Bill 180 that was addressing sort of transgender issues and bathroom use and those types of things. In addition to, I think, over the last year to a year and a half, there was also what might be commonly known as the Crown Act that also got kind of included in our Chapter 10 that talks about sort of discrimination based on natural hairstyles, which is like racism by proxy. So it's just those types of things. When you think in terms of, hey, here's what may be a form of discrimination that the city has been oblivious to or haven't quite addressed, that we think we should develop a policy and recommend this to the city commission, I think it's within you all's wheelhouse to do those types of policy recommendations. So yeah, you will see more information about that in Chapter 10 as well.
Okay.
So great question. Other thoughts or questions or comments? Okay. So can we, let's see, go back here to the agenda. So that was D1 of the agenda. So the, info packet related to the board commission, restructure policies. A lot of this was covered during the training. Again, I believe everyone did attend the training, yes? Or anybody did not have the opportunity to attend one of the 2 trainings that were provided? If not, I believe that some of the information is on the city website or will soon be on the website. If not, if there's no more additional comments or questions related to that, we can shift over here to the second item under Section D in the agenda, which is to elect a chairperson. And this is, someone can be nominated or there can be a self-nomination. And just for additional clarity related to what that entails or look like as far as the electing of a chairperson, the chair shall be responsible for presiding over meetings and shall have those additional duties established by the advisory board bylaws. And in one of the links above, it kind of goes a bit more into detail related to the roles and responsibility of the chairperson related to facilitating the meeting, ensuring that the meeting is running smoothly based on policies and procedures, as well as, what was another thing that was pretty germane to the role, meeting with the staff liaison, helping develop meeting agendas and those kinds of things. So, yes. So with that, I guess we can get ready to open it up and see if anybody would like to nominate somebody to serve as chairperson or nominate themselves.
I would like to nominate Irving for chair.
We got a nomination for Commissioner Irving.
Okay, that's fine. I was just thinking, sometimes my better instinct is, don't speak up, don't say anything, but sometimes you have to. So you sure?
Okay. Do we have any additional nominations?
Yeah, I second that nomination for Commissioner Koo.
Okay. So we have a nomination and a second for Commissioner Koo. Just want to give a second for anybody else if there's any additional nomination or self-nominations. I'm seeing Commissioner Hall shake his head no. Okay, so we have a nomination. We have a second. I guess we can do a roll call vote, or we can just do a vote. I don't know if they need to do a roll call vote. So all in favor of Commissioner Irving being nominated as chairperson, please, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed, so the vote is unanimous, 5-0. So congratulations, new commissioner or chairperson Irving.
I don't see how that works out.
Okay, so that order of business is handled. Any comments or thoughts? Okay. With that, we'll move to the next item on our agenda, D3, which is to elect a vice chairperson. Again, same rules apply. You can nominate someone, or you could do a self-nomination, and the vice chair shall serve in the absence of the chair and shall have those additional duties established by the advisory board's bylaws. So with that, we'll open it up for somebody to be nominated or self-nominate for vice chair.
I would like to nominate Mr. Guevara.
Okay, we got a nomination for Commissioner Rivera.
I can second that nomination.
We have a second. Got a second. Any other nominations?
I guess I'll self-nominate.
Okay. Okay, so we got a third. Okay, so we'll take a vote. All in favor of Commissioner
Aye.
Rivera?
Guevara.
Guevara, sorry about that. Guevara being nominated as vice chairperson, say aye. Any opposed? Congrats. We got Commissioner nominated for vice chairperson.
Thank you, Renato and Irving.
Thank you.
Stepping up.
Any additional comments or thoughts?
I know that there's supposed to be minutes for the meetings. Who actually does the meetings, or how does that work?
As far as the meeting minutes, city staff usually in the past have done meeting minutes. I think there are some advisory boards where advisory board members have done many meeting minutes. So in many cases, the way the city approaches minutes, since all of our meetings are recorded, it's almost like the meetings are online, but so we do a very sort of a skeletal sort of draft of meeting minutes, so not all that detailed, but we do have to kind of, for, Open Records Act and things like that, post meeting minutes online. So
Okay.
city staff usually handles that. Yes. You're trying to see if that's gonna be part of your duties?
And if you want to just make sure, if you wanted to make sure that something was highlighted on those minutes, definitely coordinate with myself for affairs
Okay.
as the staff, and we'll make sure that shows up.
Yes. Any other things related to D3 on the agenda? If not, we'll move to number 4 under section D on the agenda, which is to set day and time for regular meetings. This might be the tougher part.
Yeah.
And just by way of context, I guess I can just share a little bit of history on how the previous Human Relations Commission Advisory Board were meeting. Again, it might just be helpful for background information, but it doesn't necessarily have to influence how you all as a collective decide to move forward. Kind of depending on sort of things that were happening, kind of what you spoke about related to how busy was the advisory board and what type of engagement. At one point, there were, I think there were quarterly meetings, and then I think with some change in some of the leadership related to chairpersons, there was a desire to sort of ramp things up a bit more and kind of be more engaged and more active. So the meetings at the end started to shift from, I think, quarterly to monthly. At one point, there was some level of entertainment about bi-monthly meetings, I believe. So then the commission decided to meet monthly. And that went on for a period of time. And then at some point, they gave some additional consideration to the frequency of the meeting and how robust were their meetings, were they being too lengthy, what was being covered, et cetera. And so a vote was then taken to kind of go back to quarterly meetings. And it was basically 4 times a year. And that happened for a while. Then we came up against sort of COVID. And then some things just kind of went to pause a certain way. So point of mention of that is there's not a specific amount of time or related to frequency that you all have to meet or need to feel like you need to meet. That's just a conversation on what you all desire to accomplish, what that might mean. So I'm happy to answer any questions related to frequency of meetings, time of meetings, goals that you all might want to accomplish or what that might look like.
So from here to the next meeting, will we be notified, like via email or anything, like, hey, you have X amount of complaints for the board, or?
Yeah, we can get that information to you, depending on, right now, again, based on the new structure of this advisory board, we as city staff don't have anything specifically planned as it relates to like a timeline to get you all any updated information about previous complaints. Depending on where you all land at this meeting, that might kind of dictate a sort of next steps for city staff to say, okay, Can we get a snapshot of complaints from this date to this date or prior to the next meeting and what that looks like? Sometimes we would have those sent out when we send out the meeting agenda and just kind of include it as a whole packet. But of course, as advisory board members, anytime you all are interested or curious about anything, I guess you can always shoot an email or reach out about any of that though.
Okay. So how often do you guys think we need to meet? Or what would be ideal for, part of it is, in my mind, how useful the utility of the meetings, plus looking at our own schedules and our own availability.
Well, it sounds like there's twofold with this commission, reacting and kind of investigating, so to speak, I guess, maybe not the best word, complaints that happen, but also putting forward policies, recommendations
Right.
to the commission. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
So if there's some policy recommendations, obviously we'd probably want to meet more than quarterly. But it sounds like also if it's more reactionary that people are wanting to do, then you probably do need to only meet quarterly.
And I just want you to keep in mind the days too, because this is booked for certain days of the week on a regular typically, so we kind of want to consider that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I'd be open to meeting more often earlier, maybe bi-monthly, and then going backwards if we don't need the bi-monthly ones would be what I'd feel more comfortable with, but I'm open to whatever people want to do.
yeah, I think I'm getting old, so I forget easily. So yeah, I think meeting a little bit more initially and then just kind of feeling our way in terms of how busy things are. And that can inform us whether we need to meet more, even more frequently or less frequently. But I like the idea of meeting, every other month for right now.
And
I
another
agree
thing,
with that.
I'm sorry. Just
No, no.
wanted to share out, maybe it can help also guide some conversation about frequency of meetings, is that in the past, most advisory boards, depending on what's happening as well, do reserve the right to call a special meeting. So that can always happen as long as it's enough time to give notice to the general public that a public meeting is happening. So if you decide, hey, we want to meet quarterly, but during this quarter, whether it's summertime or wintertime, we know these things are happening, and typically we see a ramp up in some type of what we believe to be a form of discrimination, and you want to meet more frequently during that quarter, that can be an option as well. So you can lock in on one thing, and then if it's a need to call for special meetings, you can do that, or the sort of opposite approach as you're sort of discussing.
So how would we get the information about stuff that's going on? I could look in the paper every day, which I do.
Yes.
But it's limited. If stuff falls like on your desk and you think, oh, I think our Human Relations Commission needs to know about this.
Yeah.
You would be able to send that information to us and.
Yes. Again, I guess depending on the origin of the information, where it comes from, if it lands on city staff desk first, and of course, if we think it's germane to you all's roles and responsibilities, we can kind of share that out without, of course, violating sort of Open Meetings Act. We can do it that way. But if it's something that one of you all have come across and said, hey, my neighbor is sharing this, then we think it's some type of pattern, I think the entire body need to be made aware of this. You can send that information to Kalina or myself. We can share it out to the rest of the advisory board members, have a conversation with the chairperson if it's a need for, or believed to be a need for a special meeting, then we can go that route as well.
Okay, so I guess as advisory board members, we are in the public, and the public might recognize us and come to us and say, like, Matt, aren't you on that commission? I've got something, I got a bone to pick, and I want you to listen. So then he would listen to that and
Yes.
bring it to us.
Yeah, that can work as well.
Or they may even just see you guys on this and sometime make comments on these.
Yeah.
And bring it to you as a commission. Sometimes I've seen it done that way too.
Okay.
With certain groups, depending on who they are.
Personally, I think every other month would be fine, just because I'm super busy. I have a 3-year-old, so it just, you never know what's going to happen. So.
Yeah, I'm on board for the bi-monthly and kind of let the workflow dictate where we go on from then. You
Yeah.
know?
I agree.
Did you want to throw that out as a?
Yeah. And does someone want to make a motion for that? For the,
I'll make a motion
Thank you, Mayor.
for bi-monthly meetings.
I'll second.
okay.
We got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Or if any? I'm sorry, that was just a habit, Chairperson. My apologies. That was kind of your role right there.
Oh, don't worry, we're going to pass the torch to you next week.
Am I assuming this enormous responsibility already?
Immediately.
Okay.
So we got it down to, I guess, bi-monthly?
Yeah, bi-monthly, and then now it comes down to the time, which may be even much more difficult. Well, you guys all work kind of full-time, right? So it needs to be after work hours? I'm retired, I can do whenever.
That's my preference. I prefer not Mondays too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with Mondays. Like, my schedule's a little finicky. I'm off every Monday, Tuesday, and then every other Wednesday. But any day I work after 6 p.m. works. But I'm good with Mondays.
Yeah, I'm, Mondays, any time after 6 is great for me, like this,
I prefer not Mondays, I'm sorry.
Oh, you prefer not Mondays?
not Mondays, okay.
Okay. You said Tuesdays were a possibility. You're off Monday and Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesdays are good. Or any time after 6.
Tuesdays are not available. Those are city commission
Oh, okay.
meeting days.
Oh, that's because of the meeting here? Okay. Then there's every other Wednesday. Or at
I can make any day.
Yeah,
Just
after-
I get off work at 6, so for me to travel here 6:30. I don't know if that's a possibility.
That's fine.
And any day of the week would work for me. I mean, of course, I prefer 6, however, I can still do 6:30.
Right. And what about you and your child?
I can, 6 o'clock is great, and any day but Tuesdays, actually, so.
Any day but Tuesday?
Any days but Tuesday, because I have meetings all day on Tuesdays, most days, most weeks, so.
Okay. So,
So Wednesdays or Thursdays is really good for me.
now I'm not, well, after 6 I am. On Wednesdays, I have the court stuff, the first and second Wednesdays of each month from like 1 until 5, but 6 would be okay. Is Wednesdays okay for you, Commissioner Hall?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wednesday. At 6:30 or 6:15, or how long does it take for you to get here?
I could probably get out a little bit early, make it by 6 here.
By 6?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, pretty good. And, okay, so is there a preference for week of the month, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
With our calendar, the first Wednesdays are good, as well as the fourth Wednesdays.
First and fourth Wednesday. Okay. I personally would prefer the fourth Wednesday. I can do the first Wednesday, but I would prefer the fourth Wednesday. Is that okay with people?
The coming up, that's Christmas. If we're looking at just immediate future in 2 months.
Yeah. That's probably not so good, huh?
No, I prefer not Christmas Day. Would be my preference.
Don't you people like dedicated and loyal
I'm
commissioners?
going to be working at the TRC.
Oh, I'm so.
No, that's all right. I chose to.
Okay. I'll bring you a present.
Okay, I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be there.
I was going to suggest, though, that you don't have to necessarily say 2 months from here. You can pick a start date as well to go 2 months from that point if you like.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
which actually would work better for me because November and December are very busy for
Okay.
me. So, because it's year end and I'm my only payroll person.
Yes,
Good point.
definitely understand that.
So we're here at the end of October.
So, Irving, why not the first week in December, and then we can decide from there?
That would be fine with me. Fine, fine. First week in December, and then we'll go from there.
So that'd be December 4th?
It looks like December 4th.
Yeah.
At 6 o'clock.
Sounds good.
So for clarity, you're saying the first week of the month or first Wednesday, I guess, which would be that 4th in December, but then after that, you're looking at the 4th Wednesday for the following months.
Maybe, or we can just stick, if it's convenient, we can just stick with the first Wednesday, so we'll go the first Wednesday every other month, and that would be fine. I would just have to I just walk down the block from the courthouse to here.
Okay.
Be okay.
And that seems to be available as well?
I'm about to just verify real quick.
Okay.
If I can't get it, it will show me, it'll give me like 30 seconds.
Okay, I could grab a beer at the Free State on the way down.
Oh, so we can have the meeting before the meeting?
Pre-meeting.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, that would
No.
probably break the open meetings.
That's a good point, yes.
That's,
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
we don't want to do that.
I did learn something
It
from
would,
training.
but it would only break it if it was more than,
If it was a
if it could-
quorum.
yeah, if it was,
Start times are 6:30, guys?
yeah.
Okay.
6:30, okay. Matt, are you going to be consistently through Zoom, or can you come here in person?
I'll be able to come there in person sometimes if my schedule allows for it.
Okay,
I do have a schedule that bounces around a little bit.
yeah. I know, the video is really nice and convenient at times, but it's nothing like meeting in person. But
I agree.
yeah, if you can, that'd be great. If you can't, that's fine. All right. So, okay, we got that. That wasn't too bad.
Let me confirm this really quick, guys.
Okay.
I did it wrong initially, so it's gonna send me another one.
Oh, you're trying to hook us up for that time?
You trying to make sure that that time is, don't conflict with other.
Yeah, we're getting declined here.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Another organizer already has that room from 6 to 8.
Oh,
On the first
On
Wednesdays.
the first Wednesday as well, so it's filling up fast.
Can we check for the 4th Wednesday?
Yes, let's check for the 4th.
a fourth
And so
one?
you guys might have to start in January. Would that be okay instead of starting in December?
Sure. Well,
Okay,
we'll
let's
try
look for that.
First Wednesday in January.
Let's try.
First Wednesday in January is
Well,
the
you'd have to
first.
switch to 4th. You have to
Oh,
switch to
yeah.
4th Wednesday.
Oh, the fourth Wednesday. Yeah,
Yeah.
if Christmas
Yeah.
is Wednesday, then New Year's
That would be
is
fine.
Wednesday, yeah.
So that 4th Wednesday, I'm on the wrong day. That,
That'd be the 29th of January.
1, 2, the 22nd.
Oh,
22nd.
Yeah, the 22nd, there are 5 Wednesdays in January.
That'd be December.
So I gotta go back and change that date. Okay, so let's change that to January 22nd.
Uh-huh,
Let's see, 6:30.
okay.
We'll see what it tells me now. Give me 30 seconds. Wow, guys, it's getting really. So it looks like, who's Denny Brown? Do you know who's organization? Which group that is?
What's the name?
Denny Brown is one of them.
Sure.
So they've got it from 6:30 to 10:30 already.
Do it to you the frequency?
Not on this one, it's not.
Because it could just be that's there.
Yeah, that's true. That could just be one day.
You're talking about the fourth Wednesday?
Yep.
Very unlikely anybody has that. Because usually the meetings are the first 3 weeks of the month.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's a chance on the fourth, or a pretty good chance.
So for fourth Wednesdays.
Yes.
Okay. We can try to lock in on that then.
Okay.
If that's their option. Okay.
And then Commissioner Hall will be happy because he doesn't like Mondays.
It's right.
But does anybody
just-
really like Monday?
I have a lot going on Mondays.
Okay, so we're gonna have to adjust. Let's say you guys do the fourth Wednesday. Can you go for January? Can you go for the fifth Wednesday first?
I could,
Okay.
and that's just for the month of January, is that right?
Yes, you would just do it for that month.
And then maybe
Kind of like a special meeting.
beginning in March, we can roll it in onto the 4th.
Give me 30 seconds and we can see if.
I think Kurt got the
Oh, do you have the
schedule,
updated
so-
schedule? Okay.
Yeah, we go.
Okay.
We're much more flexible than your computer, so.
I like that. Good. Because we got it. Okay.
So what's the date?
The
It is,
29th?
the first date is January 29th at 6:30. Wednesday. That is the fifth Wednesday, and then from there we proceed with the fourth Wednesday of every other month. Thank you all for being flexible with that. With a lot of the new boards forming and starting, and it's
in the air.
kind of up and down for the next couple of months, but it'll definitely level out and be on regular schedules. So.
And the length of the meetings, typically,
It's kind of depending on what you all have on your agenda. So that can be an hour meeting, it can be 2 hours, it can be, I think there's a new policy that say you have to be done with meetings by 11, so 11, I think.
let's be done by 11, I guess.
Let's be done before 11.
But shy of that, it's just kind of depending on what's on you all agenda.
Okay.
So I think if that's agreeable, Chairperson, maybe you can ask for a motion to agree to those
We
dates.
have a motion to agree to those dates, which are the next meeting being January 29th at 6:30, and the meetings afterwards being every other month, beginning in March, the fourth Wednesday at 6:30.
Make a motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I can hear everybody says
I
aye.
think that's everybody. So that's
Okay. All right,
Good work.
what do we,
good work.
got that, we set that, and now,
I think that's the end of the agenda.
oh, it says calendar, so, but we've already done that, is that right?
Yeah, for today.
Okay,
And other times there may be things on there, so.
all right. Okay, the next thing I see is adjournment.
That's the tougher part.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
I'll make a motion to
Second.
adjourn the meeting.
Oh, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay,
Meeting adjourned at 6:51 p.m.
all right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
That was quick and easy.
Have a good night.
Have a great night.
Thank you so much.